Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Miracle Center for Spiritual Living Sunday morning service. Miracle Center is located at 2653 South Taylor Road in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. Today's service is November 26, 2023. And my name is Lynette Horn, and I'll be your practitioner for today. Just want to welcome everybody again, and I know there'll still be more people to come on, so we welcome them as well. Just want to remind everyone that our monthly theme, Centers for Spiritual Living monthly theme, is the mundane, the sacred, and the profane. And the weekly topic for this week is aha, oh my. So with that, I want to thank Gilbert for the beautiful prelude that he brought us in with. And so now I'll just begin the invocation to start the service. So if you just turn within, close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, and go to that centered place within yourself, that peaceful, calm place. And we recognize the spirit there. Divine Spirit, our beloved God, we recognize your presence within each and every one. We recognize your presence all around us, in all our circumstances, in our thoughts, our words, our deeds. We recognize your presence in the world, in nature, in the beauty, and in the world of all things. And we unify with this one divine presence that is everywhere present, that is all intelligent and all power. For this power is love. And love is God, and God is love. And we have this power within us. We have this God within us. And so we just give thanks that we can recognize and turn to this presence of God anytime, ever present. And so with that, I just speak my word and I bless this morning's Sunday service. I bless each and every one that has taken part in making this service come together. I bless each and every one that is joining us in the sanctuary, on the telephone, on Zoom, and however this comes to you. I just welcome you and give thanks that this coming together is a spiritual movement. And just giving thanks that this morning's service is in divine order. We just know that we just know that all is blessed. And I bless our message giver today, Reverend Teresa Slusser. I bless everyone behind the scenes in the tech world to bring this forth to us, in blessing Miracle Center, the actual building, and all the people that make up the care for that building in every way that they bring their gifts. And I'm just so thankful for all of this coming together now. And so, with a grateful heart, I release this prayer into the law of the mind of God, knowing that all is well, God is good, and it is so. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. Well, now, if you have your bulletin, I'll turn to the bulletin now and read here what as Reverend Teresa has brought to us. This month, we have been talking about different aspects of life: the mundane, the sacred, and the profane. All this talk can leave our heads swimming. As we look more deeply into these ideas of the mundane, sacred, and profane, we can find that there is only a perceived difference or separation in them, and that all aspects work together, forever creating something new. Just like a watercolor painting, when you add water to the different colors, they mix and blend, becoming new colors altogether. Similarly, when we add water to our consciousness mixed with the mundane, the sacred, and the profane, we realize that life moves and has its being in us and as us in all its many aspects. Let us realize that we are the divine expression of an individualized spirit. Add a little water of consciousness, a swirl of colors of life into a wonderful masterpiece. Now that's what we're talking about. So our affirmation today reads, every aspect of life is a sacred expression of spirit. So let's repeat that together. Every aspect of life is a sacred expression of spirit. Yes, every aspect of life is a sacred expression of spirit. Then our science of mind point of view. In the Declaration of Principles, Ernest Holmes says, we believe in the individualization of the spirit in us, and that all people are individualizations of the one spirit. It is here that Holmes did not differentiate between the various aspects of our lives or tell us that only the sacred is the individualization of spirit. Rather, he specified that every aspect, every person is sacred. And this means that all aspects and parts of us do express as the sacred, the mundane, and the profane. And it is all God expressing. Just as there is a place for every color in the artist's palette, there is a place for every aspect of life as God. And now we'll have a musical selection. The song is called It's All God by the Soul Seekers. Oh, wonderful. Oh, that's a good video. Thanks, Reverend Teresa, for bringing that. I really enjoyed that. It's all God. So without any further delay, let me introduce Reverend Teresa Schlosser. Reverend Teresa, take it away.
Thank you so much, Lynette. And it is so true that it's all God. How was everyone's Thanksgiving celebration? Good. You know, there is so much to be thankful for, and it is all there for us, just waiting for us to receive and accept. All we need to do is allow, receive, and accept, allowing the beauty of life to unfold in miraculous ways. And when we fill our heart with gratitude and we allow ourselves to appreciate all the good of life, then Spirit just pours it forth. All the gifts of life come to us. Life flows its abundance. Even when it doesn't look good, it works for the good. And we know it's all God. Faith over fear is what we're talking about. In Matthew 8:26, there is a scene where Jesus is out on the seas with his apostles. They're in this boat, and the boat's a rocking. The winds are blowing hard, and the waters are swirling and chopping all around the boat. The apostles are filled with fear. I'm sure they are crying out, we're going to drown, we're going to drown. Just like in our own lives, when we sometimes feel the seas of life are swirling and the wind is a-blowing every which way, causing fear and grief. But Jesus says to his apostles, why are you afraid? You have so little faith. Then he got up and he rebuked the wind and the waves, and suddenly there was a great calm. Woe is thee who has little faith. How we all give up when things get difficult and sometimes full of calamity. But we too can rebuke the winds and evoke our faith in the greater good to deliver us from the conditions and the situations that we have helped to create. Now, if you were here last month, you know that October has been quite a month, talking about polarity and paradox. For me, it was a difficult challenge to address paradox and polarity. Yet in doing so, I was able to delve more deeply into understanding the dichotomies of life. So it was actually a blessing. And so now this month, we have been exploring the mundane, the sacred, and the profane. Oh my, right? It is true that life seems to never rest and is always presenting us with challenges. And yet we muster through with a greater understanding after the storm has passed. But those storms, they help us to grow, stretch, and gain insights. So we know that the mundane is what we deem to be boring. We tell ourselves that the sacred is that which is holy, and the profane, well, the profane is that what society says is disgusting and repulsive, secular or non-spiritual, or anything that defies the norm. We are in the habit of categorizing life, separating and judging based on our perceived importance. And everything we perceive is actually filtered through our mind's eye based on our personal experiences. All of our personal experiences help to form all our beliefs collectively and individually. We create our BS, which stands for belief systems. What you might think is mundane or seem boring could actually be exciting to me. And in India, cows, they're considered sacred. What they feel is sacred and holy might just become your next steak dinner. And when it comes to the profane, well, you might rejoice in it. I could possibly find it offensive. So what does all of this mean anyway? The mundane, the sacred, and the profane. Well, let's all assume that perhaps it is good. Now we know it's all good, but let's pretend that perhaps it is all good. And in this goodness, we learn about ourselves. We learn about our strengths, our desires, our truths, and our ways of being. You know that side of us that we like to hide from others? You know, that dark side? You know, that scary side, our messier and flawed side? What we consider our less pleasant side of who you are? Well, most of us do our best to hide this side of who we are from others, and also to some extent, even from ourselves. This part of us often lives deep, really deep below the surface of our awareness, our conscious mind. in the murky waters of our unconscious mind. And when the waters are stirred, we roar our most unpleasant selves to the surface. How dare they? How could they do that to me? And yet, perhaps it is this side that motivates us to make changes for survival. It is the ego fighting and striving to survive. And yet, when we can relax into the calmness of the calamitous waters of life, we know that life is for us and is providing for us all of the good. Well, how do we get to the other side? Polarity. It does exist. How can this be? How do we make sense of all of the craziness around us? You know, the unseen future. The existing conditions and situations seem to grip us and pull us down into the quagmire of life. The unforeseen scares us, all based on the BS, our belief system that we created. To make sense of our life and try to make our life practical and livable, we almost always habitually like to categorize our lives into parts and pieces. We separate ourselves and prioritize. We like to fit everything into neat little boxes and tidy packages. Sometimes we put a bow on that package, as this helps us to feel like we are in control. If I could just put everything over there and everything over there, I've got it all under control. And we always like to show our good side, not our dark side, or what we consider our bad side. And we like to judge everything as good, bad, dark. But we judge to feel self-important. And if that isn't enough, we let our minds become so easily distracted that we lose sight. We lose focus. We forget to be present in our divinity. We let our fear overtake us, and being present almost becomes burdensome. My gosh, if I'm just fully present, then it becomes a burden because I'm going to start worrying and fearing about the results of my future. What we think makes our life easy actually makes things more difficult. In our Science of Mind teachings, Ernest Holmes tells us that the study of the science of mind is a study of first cause, spirit, mind, or that invisible essence, that ultimate stuff and intelligence from which everything comes. It is the power back of creation, the thing itself. Yeah, it is the power back of what we have created. But this thing is our divine essence. This divine essence is that power that actually calms the seas. And the good news is that there is only one. Only one. And this one that is always operating in us, around us, and as us is all that there is. Separating into the many, dividing into the many. This essence, this idea of oneness can actually be rather difficult to embody. This especially in the passing moments of every day. But there is only one. Every part of us is comprised of the one divine source. Even our dark side, the mundane and the profane. This one, as we know, sources all things. This one is good, is God, it is holy, and it is sacred. Yep. Remember, this one also includes the parts that we have buried, the things that we're ashamed of, our past mistakes, our hurts, and our traumas. It even includes those aspects of our personalities, our minds, and bodies that we wish were different. I wish I was 10 pounds lighter. I wish I was 10 inches taller. I wish I was smarter, more brilliant. Yeah, we can wish and wish and wish. But knowing that God is all there is means accepting every part of ourselves as the sacred being that we are, and understanding that we don't get to pick, choose, or categorize one and not one, because there's only one. It is the madness of our judgments, where we prefer to see others through our filters, our BS belief system, rather than seeing them as God beings. We're all one. We're all God beings. Here's a known revelation. This could be a scary thought, but this is true. That this judgment we hold so near and dear is actually a mirror. And that this mirror reflects to us the parts of ourselves that we have not yet accepted. You know, that thing that you don't like about your spouse? Take a look in the mirror. I know this is a hard one to swallow. What you don't like in another is the exact sameness that you have been running away from, facing in your own psyche. And you know, it's much easier to repress old beliefs, hurts and thoughts, and other aspects of ourselves, and then point the finger and judge others, than to actually look at those parts of ourselves that we don't accept. And these things cannot be truly released and let go until we bring them into the light and actually look at them. Take a deep look in the mirror. Look at your eyes in the mirror and see what's really in your psyche. See what's really there. And once we own and are able to accept those parts of ourselves that we have historically felt were unlovable, we find that the need to judge others gently falls away. I'm going to repeat that once we own and accept those parts of us, of ourselves, that we have historically felt were unlovable, we find that the need to judge others gently falls away. Unlovable. When we can accept that every aspect of us is lovable, then we can actually love another. So rather than judging ourselves for judging, we can actually begin to see our judgment as a tool for healing and growth. Allowing ourselves to see the aspects we have previously been unwilling to look at and release them from whence they came. It is here they no longer have any power over us. We know that in the world today, it can be challenging to stay fully present and focused on our good, Because there's distractions. And distractions, they come in many forms, like social media, games, constant technology in our face, radio, television, internet, always at our fingertips. And then we have that ever-growing list of things to do. Distractions actually become our saving grace because distractions can become a means where we sometimes run or hide from our hurt and our pain, where we don't have to face our flaws and our insecurities. We use distractions to run. We use distractions to bury. We use our distractions to forget. And yet, when we are fully present and focused, we often become astutely aware of the pain and the suffering of not just within ourselves, but in the world, such as wars and conflict, the violence, the neglect of children, and other nations' needs. We become conscious of poverty, disease, climate change, and so much more. And there's a paradox here. Because when we feel the pain and the hurt, it seems like nothing we do can make a real difference on a global scale. And so we get busy on our to-do list. I know when I feel upset, I do the mundane chores around the house. Laundry, dishes. But see, doing the mundane for me is an easy escape. But it is in those moments of the mundane, it is in these moments when I stop and I pay attention and I take a breath. It's in these moments of the mundane that I feel called to remember oneness. So the next time you are bored, stop and breathe and connect to your divine source within you, remembering that you are divine. We may not be able to see the perfection that exists, but we can trust that it is there. Stop and connect, breathe, and deeply listen to your heart and to your soul. Take a moment and ask the question, what is mine to do? When we stop and listen, we are able to show up to the world consciously choosing what is mine to do in every moment, even if it is just doing your household chores or getting the kids off to school or taking the dog for a walk or simply relaxing into self-care. Show up and be fully present as you listen to the still small voice within for guidance and direction. This becomes your healing journey. Being fully present becomes your saving grace. Consider this. This is a following excerpt from Developing Ecological Consciousness, and it was written by Christopher Uhl, I guess is how I say his name. And he titled it The Sacred Connection, and I'm going to read this excerpt to you. He says, consider the experience of 8-year-old Miranda, is her name, who sauntered into the ocean one summer day while Mark, her father, looked on. Miranda stood in the water up to her waist, just moving back and forth with the waves. 10 or 15 minutes passed, and Mark thought that her eyes were closed. 30 minutes went by, and she was still swaying in the gentle surf in the same spot. After an hour, Mark found himself swaying with her as he sat and watched from the beach. It was as if she were in a trance. He wanted to make sure she was all right. Is this some kind of seizure, he wondered? Does she have enough sunscreen on, he thought. He wondered, but he managed not to intrude. It was nearly an hour and a half before she came out of the water, absolutely glowing and peaceful. She sat down next to him without a word. After a few minutes, he managed to gently ask what she had been doing. I was in the water, she said softly. The water, he repeated. Yeah, it was amazing. I was the water. I loved it, and it loves me. Just like in a watercolor painting, when you add water to the different colors, they mix and blend, becoming new colors altogether. We can add a little water to our consciousness, mixed with the mundane, the sacred, and the profane. We can realize that life moves and has its being in us and as us, in all of its many aspects, every one of us. Well, let us realize we are the one expressing, the divine expression of the individualized spirit. Let us add a little water of consciousness, creating a swirl of colors of life into a wonderful masterpiece. It's true that we all have dreams, yearnings. We all have fears and sorrows. We also have triumphs. But it is in listening deeply to our life's experiences where we find the essential messages for our soul. Mark Nepo, he wrote a book called 7,000 Ways to Listen. And in his book, he encourages us to listen carefully to the depths of our soul. He feels that the depths of our soul is where we learn to live more vital lives. Careful listening helps us to explore. Maybe there is a pain or hurt that is calling out to you to pay attention to. Pain, P-A-I-N, is actually an acronym for pay attention, introspection, necessary. My son Michael came up with that acronym and I thought he was absolutely brilliant, P-A-I-N. But pain is a call for us to know what its message is. The pain and hurt will reveal to you what you need to know. Pain actually excavates those depths where life is trying to awaken our authentic self. Visiting the pain in our lives is made more meaningful when we can do so. We're going to listen to a song. The song is titled Hello Darkness, My Old Friend, and you probably know it as a Simon and Garfunkel song. But as you listen, I invite you to fully be present and to reflect on the three aspects: the ordinary, mundane life, your sacred life, and the profane, secular, or material life. And just deeply listen with the intention to receive any insights into your life. And if you like, you can place your hand on your heart, as this might help you to fully connect to your oneness. Become fully absorbed in the voices that are singing. Notice your feelings, and you just might begin to gather a glimpse or a deep awakening to oneness. because it is here that you might realize the aha, oh my, that all these aspects are aspects of the one divine source that sources all things, including your BS, your belief system. You might catch a glimpse of what is mine to do. Silence is a paradox. It is in the silence we find stillness and answers, yet it is in the silence that if we do nothing, we are complicit. In the words of Mark Nepo, listening is the doorway to everything that matters. So Chris, will you take us away into this song, the sound of silence? Thank you, Chris. That is a song that I think will stand the time of time. It says so much in the silence. You know, Ernest Holmes tells us that spirituality is a constant, consistent attempt to feel the presence of God in everything and in everyone. And with that, we have a reading. So if my reader would kindly come forward.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This reading is from the Science of Mind magazine, Wednesday, November 1st, 2023. It's titled, Do Your Part. But when you have chosen your part, abide by it, and do not weakly try to reconcile yourself with the world. Ralph Waldo Emerson. From the Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes. Our part is to be ready and willing to be guided into truth and liberty. There's an ancient Native American story about a raging fire in the forest. The animals, including a powerful jaguar, flee for their lives. As the jaguar runs to safety, he notices a tiny hummingbird zooming past him, headed into the fire. A few moments later, the jaguar sees the hummingbird race past him again, this time heading away from the fire. After seeing the hummingbird go back and forth yet again, the jaguar called out, "Hummingbird, why are you headed into the fire when everyone else is running for their lives?" The hummingbird replied, "I'm going to the lake where I fill my beak with as much water as I can hold, and then I go back into the fire and empty my beak onto the fire." The jaguar scoffed, "That won't do any good. The small amount of water in your tiny beak won't make a difference in this fire." "You're right," answered the hummingbird, "but the forest is my home, and it's provided so much throughout my life for me and my family. Even though I know that I can't put out the fire, I have to do my part to save the forest." The forest gods, hearing the hummingbird's commitment, were moved and created a rainstorm which extinguished the fire. Native American elders tell this story to their grandchildren, saying, "If you want miracles in your life, do your part. What's calling to you, do your part." The affirmation, "I am willing to do my part in making a difference in this world." Repeat after me, please. I am willing to do my part in making a difference in this world. Say it again with enthusiasm. I am willing to do my part in making a difference in this world. And so it is. Thank you.
Ooh, thank you, Laverne. So be like a hummingbird. Be not like the judgment of the jaguar. Be like a hummingbird as Spirit provides for you all the good. And ask yourself, what is mine to do? We find the answers in the silence. And when we are silent, we are complicit. I have another song, and this song is a very uplifting song. It's titled, You Raise Me Up. Thank you, Chris. I am going to tell you a real quick story here, and I call it the crab story. And when you look into a can of crabs and you see them, you can see them struggling as they are trying to climb up the sides of the can to get out. And just as soon as one crab is ready to climb over the side of the can to the outside, you can see a claw reach up and pull the crab back down. So it seems like the crabs will never get out of this can. But let us suppose one crab does make it out safely to the other side and scampers away, free, never to return to the can of crabs again. But what if it does return? Will it be the crab that reaches down into the can to grab hold of a claw that is close to the edge and help raise that ascending crab out of the can to the other side? Nature teaches us so much to be like a hummingbird or not to be like the judging jaguar, but let us be like the escaped crab, where we can turn around and give a hand up so that we can stand on mountains and walk on stormy seas. Let us be there to help raise each other up. I know I am stronger because of you. I am more than I can be because of you. It is in the oneness that we find each other to bring the greatest being that we are into this world. There is a perfection, and in seeing this perfection that exists, we must find our call into taking a deeper action, fully living the sacred, the mundane, and the profane parts of our lives each and every day. It is yours to do, to find and express all these wonderful aspects of yourself, finding a balance. It is up to you to see the beauty of the sacred in the profane and to experience the shock of the profane in the mundane and to find the sacred in the mundane. And like the artist who mixes water on the palette of his watercolor paint, when we open the watercolor palette of our consciousness, we create a masterpiece of our life. And it is here that we can bring something brand new into the world. Let us take this into prayer, knowing that there is one divine source that is sourcing all beings, each and every being right here and right now. All of life is being sourced by the created energy that brings everything into fruition. Knowing that this great divine source is the source of each and every being. Each and every being. With this realization, we realize collectively and individually that all is good and all is God, and that there is abundance and peace and joy and happiness each and every moment of each and every day. And all we need do is simply realize this in each and every moment, to be fully present and equipped, because we are already come equipped into this life to be all that we came here to be. And knowing this, I give thanks for this divine presence that is operating always in this life, sourcing everything that is needed and necessary in the prosperity, the love, the joy, the peace, the harmony, and good health, always always pouring forth and flowing abundantly. I give thanks for this. And knowing this to be true, I release my words to the law in this attitude of gratitude. And if you are in agreement with me, please declare this truth as we release the words to the law, knowing it is done and done now. And together we say, and so it is. And I believe we probably have some announcements. Lynette, you're muted.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. Well, thank you, Reverend Teresa. Let's all give her a hand for that beautiful, wonderful message to help us remember the one source, the oneness, and that it's all good, it's all God. So thank you, Reverend Teresa. That was wonderful. I loved all the beautiful musical selections. Beautiful. So there are a few announcements on the program on the back. The Keys to Wisdom, the sessions that are on Wednesday or on Thursday, they're in recess until further notice. So I think after the holidays, they'll resume again. And then on December 2nd, our own Jackie Lawson is hosting a card making workshop, and that's always very fun. So that's a Saturday, this coming Saturday, December 2nd, 2023, at 11 a.m. till 4. The donation is $20, and you'll make 3 cards. So everyone come to Miracle Center to take part in that workshop. It is so fun. Jackie has so many things to feel and be creative with, and she has many selections of cards that you could choose from. So it's always fun, and you make these cards and you can send them off to your loved ones or keep them and just enjoy them yourself. That's kind of what I've done, but I've gone to many of her workshops, and it just uplifts me. It's so fun, and it's just a fun time to express and just be in fellowship with everyone. So thank you, Jackie, for having that. So I believe that's all the announcements. So with that, I'll just go into the benediction and just join me with, as I speak these words, so that we are so filled with thankfulness and gratefulness to receive these beautiful messages today. And I know that all is well because all is God. And just blessing each and every one with good health and great wealth, peace, love, joy, and happiness. And as you go out into the week, into the world, just know that you are loved and you are guided, guarded, directed, connected, and protected. And all is good because all is God and all is well. And I just let this be so. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. Well, this concludes Miracle Centers for Spiritual Living Sunday morning service. And thank you for being here. And I think in the sanctuary, you'll circle up and sing the peace song.